Welcome to our next installment at the NCEC Virtual Career Fair. Today we are talking about careers in nutrition, and we have Erin Berentson and Sara Clemens from NDSU Extension.
And we're talking about careers in nutrition, but also agriculture today. So I'm going to have my coworker Sara kick us off, and she's going to start with careers in agriculture.
All right, so we wanted to do a little bit of a broad overview of extension in general. A lot of people may have heard of extension, but we also have found that a lot of people really don't know what extension is or does. So extension is just an outreach of our land-grant universities to the citizens of the state that we serve. So Erin and I are both employed by both the county, so both Bottineau County and the state of North Dakota. So we're main employees by the university, so North Dakota State University. And the best way of describing what extension is kind of like an extension cord. So an extension cord, you plug it into the wall to get electricity away from the wall to something where you need it. So that is similar to what we do. We take the research done at the university level and we bring it out to the citizens to help them either better their operations or, in Erin's case, their nutrition or health, our community vitality, things like that. And so extension really has three main areas. So we have agriculture and natural resources, which is my job description. We have family and community wellness, which is what Erin is doing in our county. And we both share the 4-H youth development branch, and that is just our youth outreach for extension. So we do a lot of different things in those capacities. So I'm going to focus mainly on what extension is a little bit and then go into some of the things on the agriculture side. So extension is present in all 53 counties in North Dakota. All of our offices just look a little bit different. Some of us are solo agents, so there's one agent in the county. A lot of offices have multiple agents. So in Bottineau County, we have 2 agents, so Erin and myself. And there's other counties like Ward County, which is Minot, and they have 8, or Cass County and Fargo. I think there's 9 in that office. So there's lots of different makeups of the different offices. So for our office, our extension is located in the Bottineau County Courthouse. And like I said multiple times, there are 2 agents in that office, and we also have 1 support staff, Amanda Lorenz, and she just kind of helps us with everything. Without her, we would be lost for sure. So like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about agriculture, considering that is my main duties. So agriculture and natural resources are grouped together. Our primary responsibilities in that capacity are our crops. So anytime you see a field growing, any of the grains, pulse crops, anything like that, the different cropping systems. So whether that's no-till or conventional till or kind of an intermixture. We also have a lot of cover crops being utilized, things like that. We've been branching into the precision agriculture, so drones, variable rate applications of fertilizer, of crops, things like that. Ag marketing has been a big tool these last few years with the commodity prices the way they are. We also have livestock, so dealing with our swine, our beef cattle, our dairy cattle, kind of our hobby farms with horses, chickens, all those different types of things. Horticulture, and that's anytime you have like house plants or gardens or trees for ornamental purposes, those fall underneath that horticulture branch. And then finally, forestry. So Bottineau County is kind of special. We have the only forest in North Dakota that is natural. So we have a little bit more forestry in our county than others see in their counties. So it's a little bit interesting as far as that's why we have the school for the Forest Service here in Bottineau as well. So when we're thinking about agriculture, it really is surprising how many people don't realize how many jobs are directly tied to agriculture. So in North Dakota, it is said that 1 in 5 jobs are directly tied to agriculture, and they fall under 4 main areas. So we have our food, which is all of the crops that we see grown, so corn and soybeans and canola. There's actually 43 different commodities that are grown in the state of North Dakota as far as the food aspect. So we have one of the most diverse platforms as far as being able to grow a lot of different types of crops. We have the feed sector, and so a lot of people mistake food and feed. Food is for humans, feed is for our animals. So we have some crops that we grow that are grown for both food and feed, like corn and soybeans. But we have others that are grown directly for just the feed for our animals. Then we have the fuel sector. So we're talking about anything that deals with the energy. So a lot of our mineral rights, things like that would fall underneath that fuel sector. So we have a lot of oil, natural gas, coal, all those different type of things can be considered an agriculture job. And then the last area is fiber. Fiber is a little bit interesting. We think about fiber in the dietary sense that we need, dietary fiber, but fiber is also used to make our clothes, the paper that we use, all those different types of things. So we think about the forestry aspect. We have trees that make our paper that we use to write on every single day. We also have fiber such as cotton fiber that is used to make our clothing. And so all those are agricultural related, and all those jobs would fall under the branch of agriculture as well. So a little bit about how I got to where I am. So I help with a lot of different aspects. My day is never the same, which is awesome. And so I had a lot of interests in when I was growing up. I loved 4-H. I was an active 4-H. I was also very involved in FFA. And things like that. So agriculture has always been a part of my past and definitely going into my future. I was heavily involved with animals. We lived on a cattle ranch, raised a lot of horses, things like that. My goal when I was young, I wanted to be a veterinarian. So I have a degree in animal science with a pre-vet emphasis. So I did a lot of, vaccination schedule, things like that. I worked in the meats lab when I was in college. So I had a lot of different things. And I really got to the point where I really liked teaching people about agriculture. And so my interest kind of changed a little bit as my life plans changed. So I met my husband when I was in college the first time. And it kind of just, I wasn't so focused on the animals anymore. I was more focused on outreach and education. And so I switched paths. I got my animal science degree, and then I switched and got my ag ed degree, so agriculture education degree from North Dakota State University. And that's what brought me to the state of North Dakota. So I'm originally from South Dakota, just across the border, like literally could throw a stone and throw it into North Dakota. That's how close I was. And so North Dakota is not a lot different. But what brought me all the way up to this northern part here is I got a teaching job in agriculture education. And so I was an ag ed teacher for 5 years and taught 7th through 12th grade ag in shop classes in a small town. Really loved it. Again, family plans changed, which brought us to Botno. And the drive was just a little bit too much for me. NDSU Extension had a position open up, and that's why I'm sitting here today. So I had a lot of different interests when I was in school and things like that. I have a lot of minors because I was interested in so many different topic areas. And so I also did get a minor in extension education and did an internship with the Cass County office while I was in college. And it really opened my eyes to all the different ways extension can help people and things like that. And so that is a multi-agent county. And so each one has a very specialized field. And I knew that wasn't what I wanted because I like variety. I like having no 2 days being the same. And so I wanted something where I had a little bit of more to branch out in the different areas. And so Botno has been a really good fit for me because I can do crops, I can do livestock, I can answer tree questions and horticulture questions and, do the 4-H program. So it's been a very good fit for me because I really like to educate both adults. And that's kind of what extension is geared towards, is more the adult education piece. But I also get to do a lot of the youth pieces with the 4-H aspect too. So it's been a very amazing fit for me, and I'm just loving it. So
Thanks, Sarah, for the background of extension. I hope you guys kind of learned a little bit more about our office. The really cool thing, like Sarah said, is our jobs are different every day. It's not repetitive, and it's something fun, and we both really enjoy it here. We get to work with a wide variety of people, and so there's just a lot of opportunity for people that have a variety of interests, whether it's agriculture based somehow, like Sarah gave you some background on, and then I'll talk a little bit about my nutrition background and kind of how I ended up here. So there's just a lot of opportunities with extension, and so it's really exciting that we get to share this with you guys today. So like Sara said, I'm going to be chatting about kind of the family and community wellness side of our office here. There are kind of 5 main areas that I work with, and so you can see them here: nutrition, food safety, and health, but also working with programming for children and families and finance, leadership and civic engagement, and then some human development and family science. And so my main focus is on nutrition and food safety and health, mainly because that's my expertise. That's what I went to college for. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about that. And I'll just kind of go into my next slide right away. I can get my screens to share. There we go. So a little bit about my background. So I'm a graduate from Bottineau High School, actually. And I just knew that when I wanted to go to college, I wanted a job that was somehow related to health and wellness. So I went to the University of North Dakota initially as a pre-med major, thinking I wanted to be maybe a physical therapist or a pharmacist, or even considered doing med school. And then after I took a nutrition class, that's really where I found out that my interest really was. So kind of like Sara said, you know, your path might change a little bit once you get to college and start taking classes and kind of find what you want to really focus on. The nice thing with any kind of major that you're interested in college is that anything health related, they really all need the same health and science courses the first, if not even the second year of college, while people kind of figure out what health career they want to pursue. You know, so some of those biology and chemistry and anatomy classes, and then you can kind of figure out maybe what your niche specifically is. So I have on here, there's a lot of different job areas within nutrition. Some people work very clinical. Maybe they're an actual registered dietitian, and I'll talk about that a little bit. A lot of jobs are available in more of a community health setting, which is what I get to do here now. And there's also jobs in food service. So just like Sara said, there's a whole lot of different avenues. Just like with agriculture, there's a lot of different aspects to it, and there's just a home for everyone. As far as becoming a registered dietitian, where you would actually work maybe in a clinic or a hospital and get to help patients with specific diet needs, that's a 6-year degree. For community health and some food service, those are typically 2 to 4 year degrees. Like most health careers, it involves applying to a specific program and then taking some national board exams. But what's really cool is there's actually 2 colleges in North Dakota that offer several nutrition or dietetics specific programs. So both UND and NDSU, and then also Concordia, just right across the border as well. But the long story short, when I went to school, I got my 4-year degree in dietetics. And then I took all the tests to become a dietitian. And then while I was working at a clinic, I got my master's degree from NDSU in public health, which is why my interest really kind of pulled me a little bit more towards some community health, really kind of working more for prevention and for wide populations, like we had kind of talked about. So just kind of, again, how did I get here to this office? I previously worked at a clinic down in Bismarck, and then I worked for the Minot Air Force Base. Actually, I was the dietitian for the Air Force Base. And one really cool thing that I think both Sara and I can agree on is we've both been very lucky, and we've really loved all the jobs that we've had leading up to this position. And we both love it here now. So we're both very, very lucky in that. This job, my family community wellness job, is very community-based. So I teach different classes, do some public speaking. Maybe some of you guys have seen us walking around the schools. We do some fun activities within the schools, teaching a little bit about agriculture and nutrition specifically in the schools. You know, my previous jobs were very clinical, and it was, I would see patients and go through the specific diet recommendations. As far as food service goes, I don't have a lot of experience in food service, but if you have any interest in doing like culinary school, being a chef, or really looking more at the business side of things with nutrition, that might be a really good path too. Like we said, there's a lot of different avenues with this. You know, kind of looking back, I would I would follow the exact same path. Extension is a great opportunity for those of you that are thinking about, looking at staying in North Dakota. There's a lot of opportunities for people to really make what you want your job to be. Sara and I both have that flexibility to really put our passions forward and help teach people, help educate people, all across our communities to help keep them knowledgeable and help keep them healthy. North Dakota in general has a lot of opportunity. As Sara said, 1 in 5 jobs is agriculture, but nutrition is actually a very growing field as well in North Dakota. There are a lot of job opportunities. And of course I'm biased, but nutrition is an important job. We get to help people not only when they're sick, but also try to help keep healthy people healthy in the first place. So Sara and I's bridges cross all the time. You can't have food, you can't have nutrition without agriculture, and you can't talk about agriculture without food. So a really important aspect we have working together here, not only in our county, but also across the state. I think we can both, successfully say that it's very satisfying work when you get to help change someone's life in any aspect that people seek our office out for questions for.
I always say we're lifelong learners. You always are learning, no matter if you think you are or not. So yes, I have 2 4-year degrees. So I have one from South Dakota State University in animal science, and then a lot of times when you get a 4-year degree, your next 4-year degree is actually only 2 years because your generals will cross over. So all of my generals crossed into NDSU, so I didn't have to retake any general classes, and I got my ag ed degree in just 2 years. I'm currently in my master's degree, which I should graduate next month, in exactly a month, actually. And so that's been a stretch. So I've been in, I graduated high school in Sisseton, South Dakota in 2009. It is now 2020, and I am still going to college. So it's great. That's another benefit of working for the university system too. There's a lot of side benefits that you get for doing those kind of careers too. So we get tuition waivers and a lot of assistance in making, our education path a little bit brighter and better. Also with higher degrees, you get higher salaries. And so that's always a nice factor as well. Yeah, we did see a lot of disruption in the food chain with the pandemic and everything. And it's sort of normalized a little bit, but when we had large outbreaks in the packing plants and things like that, we definitely seen some shortages of meat. So it wasn't that there was a shortage of meat, it was just a shortage of the product getting from point A to point B or C or D or wherever they were on that chain. And so there are a lot of producers that I do help. I can think of 2 of them off the top of my head that have asked and called for questions on how to diversify their operation a little bit. So when we're talking about direct marketing, is essentially taking out a middleman. So typically a rancher, in this case with cattle, would sell their livestock at a livestock barn, and then there would be a backgrounder that would feed them and then sell them to a packing plant to be butchered, and then they end up on the grocery store shelves. So when we're talking about direct marketing, that livestock producer is going to feed those animals up to market weight. They take them to a place to have them what we call harvested, and then the product is sold directly to the consumer. So you're taking out the backgrounder, you're taking out the sales barn, you're taking out all those little pieces where the rancher loses a little bit of those profits. And so, yeah, we do help a lot with that. We also see it too with a lot, like Erin's been working with our farmers markets. That's another direct marketing plan that we see. So where people grow extra food. So our big push this spring was to have people who raise gardens to maybe plant an extra row, and then they could either direct sell that or maybe supply it to a local food pantry or things like that. And so that's a way you can direct market on the plant side of things. The crops are a little bit trickier to do. A lot of times we see direct marketing in the form of a contract. So they'll get a contract for X amount of bushels of grain that they sell directly to the flour mill or the seed crusher or things like that. So we see a little bit of that, but a lot of our crops are still done through the local markets and then shipped via rail car or semi to the next location. So we we're seeing a little bit of shift, but it hasn't quite gotten to the point where like the farmers market and then the livestock side has. There are a lot of different programs that are available. The horticulture program, I would say, is probably their bigger one. And so they do like the vegetable production up there. They have a wash pack plant now. So like they wash and prepare their own vegetables for people to purchase directly from them. They pre-COVID, they supplied a lot of food from their gardens and things to the local school to be utilized for as part of like their healthy lunch program for like the salad bars and things like that. With COVID and things are disrupted a little bit. I have a feeling those will go back to where they were, you know, post-pandemic. We always say that. We don't never know when that's going to end, but things will start normalizing out a little bit. You know, we figured out a lot of different things. You know, we're able to offer a lot of programs and things, and people are, you know, maybe to the point where they're zoomed out, but they're still accessing a lot of this information from the comfort of their own homes. And it's definitely making some traction that way. In my capacity, I have helped several students find like an internship. A lot of places are hesitant because they're wanting somebody that has a little bit of an education background. So typically it's like after your second year of college, or kind of when you're trying to figure out where to focus your thoughts or your energy at. I do sit on some of the advisory boards at the college and have provided some outreach as far as locations to find those. I think more on that comes more from my ag ed side versus the extension side. NDSU Extension does offer internships. And like our NRCS, so the Natural Resource Conservation Service, offers some. FSA sometimes has a few available. Those ones are applications, so you have to apply for them. But I have definitely found, if people are looking for something, there's definitely places to find them. It just depends on if you're willing to travel outside your area or comfort zone a little bit to go pursue some of those things.
Someone that is interested in just, you know, a quick job shadow, or kind of wants to see a little bit more of how our office is or how we work in capacity, Sara and I are both more than willing to take that on, you know, and maybe a little bit of a non-formal capacity. We're always game for job shadow opportunities, or to have the opportunity to talk about, you know, more hands-on and a little bit more specifically about our job role. So, you know, if anyone is interested in, you know, a day job shadow, or just wants to learn more from either of us, that we are more than welcome to do that here in our office.
Thank you very much, ladies. And we appreciate your time.
I was going to say, in Rolette County, I know Mark Miller is my position over there, and he usually has a summer intern that is funded through their office to help with the fairs and things like that. So it's not just our office. There's an office in Rolette County, and Pierce County, McHenry County, Renville County, Ward County. Every county has one, and a lot of them do have, you know, opportunities too.